broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today for the webinar, What's New in CloudBerry Backup 5.7. My name is Eugene Rudinsky. I'm Solution Architect here at CloudBerry. And before we begin, I'd like to highlight quickly a few notes. So first of all, we're going to launch a very quick poll just to figure out what you're interested in and what kind of features you'd like to look into. This webinar is being recorded, so look for email within the next 2 days with a link for the recording. So we'll definitely share that with you. And if there are any questions or comments or you need to clarify something, let us know. There is QA box section in the tool that you use for getting into this webinar. And either myself or my colleagues will get in touch with you and reply on your comment or your question. So as I promised, let's take a look quickly at the question that we have today. So I'm going to launch the quick poll. So yeah, take some time and reply to the question. So the question is related to your familiarity with CloudBerry Backup and CloudBerry Lab products. So do you use Managed Backup Service or not? Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm going to close the poll and I'm going to share results. Yeah, it looks like almost everyone is familiar with MBS. So we're going to go through a few first slides very quickly just to highlight the key point and what we have so far today. And then after a while, we're just going to dive into what's new in 5.7. So thank you very much for taking part in the poll, in the survey. And let's get back to slides and go through the presentation. So a few words about CloudBerry, just to let the rest of the audience know, since we have around 25% who is not really familiar with either MBS or maybe they are not familiar with CloudBerry Lab at all. So we are here since 2011 with over 300,000 consumers and 5,000 service providers. We helped work with over 30 storage services around the globe, including global leaders like Amazon, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Wasabi, Backblaze, OpenStack, and so on and so forth. We recently crossed the 100 petabyte threshold of cumulative data transferring by our partners into various storage configurations, again, including all these global leaders. And we're really proud of that. And we want to thank you, our partners and customers, for being with us and for making our product better and better from day one. At the same time, we offer cross-platform products, including the flagship product CloudBerry Backup, which is available for all major platforms today, like Microsoft Windows, either service or desktop agents. So the major part of the talk today is actually related to Windows Agent 5.7. And we also do support Mac and Linux. And we recently discontinued support of NES applications like QNAP and Synology, unfortunately, for some business reasons. However, we're still doing good, and we, release versions, again, they talk about that, about 5.7 today. So, a CloudBerry backup overview. So, just really quickly, what we offer disaster recovery solution to protect your servers, your desktop computers, and whatever computers you have. And it can be storage of your choice, including the storage which you can see on that list. Again, it can be anything from the public area like Amazon or Microsoft Azure or Google, or it can be your own storage, what we call bring your own cloud storage, or bring your own storage into the table and use that storage either for your data, for your backups, or use that storage for your consumers that you service. And this is what we talk about service provider fields. So, just really quickly go through the key features that we have available for Windows Agent. Since that agent is the eldest agent that we have comparing to Linux and Mac. Among with file level backup support, we do offer image backup, which is the entire computer, which initially was designed to offer you restore as the similar hardware. Let's suppose that we have computer and that computer is gone. So, we get a new computer, get a new laptop or a new server or new desktop computer, and we, restore our image-based backup to that dissimilar hardware. However, with moving to cloud technologies, we introduced recently support for cloud restore, like Amazon EC2 or Microsoft Azure Virtual Machine. And today we're actually going to talk about something else. So the third platform that we offer as a support destination, and this is what we have available for 5.7. So stay tuned for this. Moving forward from the backup perspective, what we have else available. So there is, a Microsoft, VSS support for all files and things that we might have on the volumes. So we want to keep them in our backup, and we want to access this data with Microsoft VSS support. So we recently introduced the hybrid backup, but the first iteration that we offered was available only for file level backup. So today we're actually going to see what else is available with hybrid backup in 5.7. And, all these advanced things like compression and encryption, we actually offer them in all types of backups. So you can be assuring the security of your data and, and the very efficient space utilization on the storage due to the compression that we use. Moving forward, just really quickly, what else we have? So there is advanced retention support that offers you to set what exactly you want to keep in the storage when you want to start purging your data. So there are a lot of advanced filters available that you can apply on your backup sets, and all these configurations can move forward and guarantees the recoverability of your data exactly what you need, and exactly that amount of points that are available in the storage. Essentially, we provide very flexible and affordable recovery time objectives and recovery point objectives. Storage support, right? So that's quite important, since the very first storage that we started initially was AWS, among with local storage like network share or something in your computer. But we actually extend that every year, and today we do offer more than 30 different cloud storage vendors available around the globe. And within each vendor, actually, there are a few storage tiers, or how they call it, like storage class. And we also do support them. So you can select exactly this, the storage tier or exactly storage class that you want to use for that certain backup set or for that certain part of your retention policy in order to save your budgets on the storage utilization and storage payments if you use something like Amazon or Microsoft Azure or Google. And again, in 5.7 we introduced something for Microsoft Azure, by the way. So let's move on. So from the restore perspective, again, since we offer file level backup, image-based backup, there is also support for virtual machines, like there is VMware virtual machine backup, Hyper-V virtual machine backup. We offer a very wide range of capabilities from the restore perspective, especially when we talk about image-based backup. And 5.7 extended that capability, and you will be able to see today what's going on there. So, but before that, what we used to have, again, the similar hardware restore, that's a new computer, and we use image-based backup, restore it, and that's it. So our operating system, our files are ready to use, even on a new computer. There was also capability to work with EC2 instances from AWS, and one with the EC2 instances we used to offer, and we still offer actually, a template restore like EMI, Amazon Machine Image. There is another capability which is a Microsoft Azure virtual machine, and all capabilities that are around virtual machines within Azure, like a template or volumes. And actually, Google VM, which is here written as coming soon, is actually already here, and it's in 5.7. So this is what I'm going to introduce you today in a few minutes. So from the Microsoft SQL and Exchange perspective, we do offer application of backup where you deploy CloudBerry piece into your SQL and Exchange server, and you configure your backup plans according to your retention policy, your organizational personal requirements. Like when we talk about SQL Server, we actually can define different rules for for our backup sets. Like it can be full on certain basis, differential, transaction logs, etc. And all these very let's say basic capabilities, like I mentioned earlier, like encryption, compression, different filters, notifications, reportings are available for both platform, for both agents, for both type of plans. Just a really quick highlight in case if you run 2010 Exchange, there is mailbox item level restore. We released that earlier, I believe a year ago. And it's the way to restore your items straight away from the cloud, even if you keep your EBD files. I mean your backups of EBD files somewhere else in the cloud. We offer a direct restore of those items, to your production database, and it's really cool. Try it out. It takes just a few seconds to bring your missing item from your backup database back to your production, to your original mailbox. Managed backup service, again, so you all highlighted that you are very about MBS, which is great, but there is still 25% people who are not familiar what's going on with MBS and what is this. So essentially, MBS is unique in its type, and it helps IT departments as well as service providers who deliver backup and disaster services to their end users. As I mentioned earlier, we have over 5,000 partners of MBS right now on daily basis. They help the end users or even employers if we talk about deployment of MBS profile into a organization. Within organization there is a IT department, and they manage backups within various departments. So we have over 5,000 customers of such deployments at the moment, and the product is super simple. Since you get the either agent or you get a piece of software, and you put it in your either Windows or Linux or Mac platform, and you start to create your backup plans either right on the end on the agent, by either going through the RDP to that computer, or VNC, depends on the platform, or there is single place where you need to go is called MBS. Essentially, is a web endpoint that you can access using your web browser. And that's it, actually. You can see your computers, you can start managing your licenses. The most important part here is that you can, use the storage of your choice. Again, it can be either your own storage, something that we call bring your own storage, or it can be something from the public fields like, Amazon, Microsoft Azure, Wasabi, BT, Backblaze, Google Cloud Platform, Google Drive, and etc. So remember that slide. A few slides ago, there was a very, a wide list of available things that you can use today. And essentially, MBS is the place where you go on daily basis, where you can see the dashboard, where you actually manage everything like from the bird eye view. And if you need to drill down into, certain issues, or, certain problems, or, certain actions, and if you need to configure anything, so this is what you do. It's a very cool management, monitoring, reporting tool, which is easy to use, which is available 24/7, and you just dive there and you just start to do everything that you need. And really quickly, for those of you who haven't seen that before, so on my screen you can see the MBS, which is in web browser. So it's not a screenshot, and it's exactly the same dashboard like you've seen in the slides. Let's just jump back to the dashboard, and again we can see all these pie charts, all these license summary, and again, if you want to start management the agent, so we just go here, request the custom build that we want to use today. Again, so we are cross-platform solution for wide list of available platforms, including Windows, Linux, Mac. There is also Virtual Machine Edition, and you just request that build. It can be rebranded. You can white label. You can use your own logo, splash screens, etc., etc. And then when you deliver that agent and deploy to your endpoint, to your computer, you can actually start to manage that agent again, either right in place, or you can jump remote, or you can jump using the MBS interface, remote management interface. So let's go back really quickly, and just a really final slide before we go into 5.7. So we also do offer, since we see a very big trend in migrating, mail services and the entire workflow, Office workflow, into cloud services like Microsoft Office and Google G Suite. We actually offer backup and disaster recovery for those hosted business solutions as well. So there is native API-based backup solution for G Suite and for Microsoft Office 365. So take a look at that. So what's new? So I'm just going to quickly jump into. Just really want to quickly jump into my QA box. So there is a question if this is recorded. Yes, this is recorded. We're going to share the recording shortly. And so what's new? Let's take a look at the things that are available in 5.7. So first of all, remember I mentioned hybrid backup. So just to give you an idea, if you don't remember what is this and what it offers, essentially it's the way to set up dual destination for your backup plan. Imagine that you have very complex policy within your company, or you want to follow 3-to-1 rule, which states actually that you need to keep 3 copies of your data in 2 different locations and at least 1 offsite. So hybrid backup is exactly what you can get, where you can get 3-to-1, a 3-to-1 rule. Since you can set up dual destination within certain backup plan, and you can say, okay, so I want my files first go to the local network attached storage, or to my local computer, since I have a lot of free space on my D drive or whatever drive, or I want to push them to Samba Share, or I want to push them somewhere else. So anyway, so we push that data first locally, and once finished, the data kicks off to the second destination by using the hybrid action. So the benefit here is that you don't have to create two separate plans like you used to do before, because that feature, as far as I remember, that feature has been requested since 2015, almost 2 years, and we were getting there because that's not really easy to implement. So now we have it. So, however, in 5.7 there is a very big change. Now this is available for all types of backups that we have, including image-based backup, SQL Exchange, Microsoft Hyper-V, and VMware Virtual Machine. So all types of backups that are available with our agents, you can push to towards hybrid strategy, where first goes to local storage and then your data kicks off to the offline destination. Again, so this is great since you can follow 3-to-1 strategy. The other one, this is what I actually feel since I've been here for over 10 years in the IT industry, especially in the backup field. And this is actually less impact on your production system, since you can complete your backups much faster, since the first flags goes somewhere locally and it's kind of local traffic. So once completed, your VSS snapshots are being deleted. Your performance actually goes down because we don't really touch it at all. And again, so the second lag here is just copying data from your local destination to your either S3 or to your Microsoft Azure or to your cloud storage of your choice, like SD compatible and whatever. So anything from that 30 plus list you can select as your second destination for your backups. So this is what we call all-inclusive support for hybrid backup. Again, all types of backups can be now configured with hybrid backup strategy. Okay, so restoring image-based backup to GCP. So for those who don't know what is GCP, GCP is Google Cloud Platform, and they also offer compute instance or compute engine, what they call. So compute engine is actually a virtual machine in the cloud. And in version 5.7, we introduced the ability to restore your image-based backup as a Google instance. So again, before 5.7, we used to make it, but that was available only for AWS EC2 compute service or Microsoft Azure virtual machine service. So now that's actually the third point. So that's the third platform where we offer the ability to restore your image-based backup as virtual machine in the cloud. It's great since you can try it out for migrating your workflows, your Windows workflows, either physical or virtual, into the cloud. So you just need an image-based backup of that computer, push that to the cloud, and you're ready to go. So there are some limitations that I need to highlight. So first of all, it's only available for servers operating systems like 2012 R2, 2016, 28 R2. With some conditions like SP1, and there should be a hotfix installed. It's not available for desktop editions. You can try it out, but you're gonna see the error message. It's actually the API cost, and it's the error message of the Google, unfortunately, and that's actually the internal policy. So that's why we don't support it, and we don't really want to go against Google policies. So we want to follow all these end user license agreements and all partners agreements. You can also deal with three types of data. So it can be a virtual machine instance, it can be a virtual image or machine image, or it's called Google machine image, like a template. Like in Amazon, they have AMI, right? Like Amazon machine image. In Google, they have Google machine image, like GMI. It's a template that you can use later for deploying your virtual machines in Google using that template. And a disk volume file, finally, your C drive or your D drive with data can be converted into a disk volume that you can attach later to your instances in the cloud. Cool, right? One more thing, since we want to make it as fast as possible, we offer two options from the restart perspective. So the option number one is to go directly where your agent talks to your data first, your data store first, and then retrieve that information using pass-through mode and unarchive, decrypt that on fly, and then push back to the Google Cloud. So that's actually 2 lags, and that's actually very slow. Especially that's going to be very slow if you don't have a Google region in your country, in your location. So in that case, we offer a temporary instance or what we call proxy in the cloud. So what we do, we launch a Windows instance in your account, temporary, just for time of restore. And over that instance, we proxy data from your storage and we instantiate virtual machine in Google Cloud. So that's actually kind of local traffic within Google Cloud Platform Network, and that's gonna guarantee fast restore. And that temporary proxy you can configure as well. So there is a similar wizard, like you can see on the screen. And in that similar wizard, you can say what exactly you want to use from the resource perspective for your temporary instance. And of course, you can do the configuration and select the machine type, the disk type, the subnet that you want to use for your virtual machine, and the Google, and obviously the zone also in the wizard. So that's restarting to Google Cloud Platform. I think we were getting there for about 6 months, and I think that's nice. So again, so that is third service that we introduced from the Cloud Platform Virtual Machine Restart. I'm on with AWS and Microsoft Azure. Okay, let's move on. And so this is nice. Restoring image-based backups as virtual machine in VMware. So what we can do, we can get our image-based backup and then we can restore it as dissimilar hardware. Remember, it was one of the first features with image-based backup. Then we can do a file restore from image-based backup just in case if we're missing few files from one of the volume, which is inside our image-based backup. That's also been available here for several months. So now your image-based backup can be restored as virtual machine. And there are a few things that I need to highlight as well. There is option to play with disk provisioning. So either you want to go with fat disks or thin disks, like thin provisioning or thick provisioning with two types like lazy 08 or bigger 08. Depends on your storage and your configuration of your preference. You can actually play with that option. As well as the disk, as well as the virtual resources sizing and all configurations like network where you want to push your virtual machine, your hypervisor, your vSphere, etc. So you actually define that in the wizard. And the most important thing here is that we actually do that over vSphere API for data protection. So what it means? It actually means that you need to bring licensed VMware. Unfortunately, it does not support. It's not supported for free hypervisor. Since there is VMware hypervisor, absolutely free hypervisor that you can get from VMware website. Unfortunately, it cannot be used as a target for that kind of restore. Only licensed VMware, since the APIs are limited and not available for that kind of action, so we can't really do anything here. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about NTFS and what we have invented for your faster backups. So, fast NTFS scan. What it gives you at the end of the day? At the end of the day, it gives you, up to 10 times faster your backups. Why? Well, because we introduced the way to, it's actually proprietary file scanning mechanism where we use the file tree and the file system tree for understanding where where are any changes, or where are those files, or whether we have that file in the file system or something is gone here. So this actually helps us, that tree, that invention helps us to do a very fast NTFS scan. And we actually done some tests recently, and especially on HDD sites, and if you have very large backup sets, we see there is a very huge performance difference. So up to 3 and up to 10 times. Again, this actually depends on the number of files that you have within your backup sets. So as more files you have, better efficiency you're going to see. We don't really suggest to use that if you have just few files within your backup set. Make sure that you unset it. And by the way, it's unset by default. So this is great when we talk about, million files within backup sets. And yeah, so for the first time, it doesn't make any sense. But when we talk about incremental backup for the second run, so that's going to give you a very huge difference. Okay, so backup operators. I would actually say that I'll try to remember. I think that was initially first time mentioned by one of our partner almost 3 years ago. So that's pretty old feature request. And finally, we introduced backup operators API support. So just to give you an idea, what is that? So within your domain configuration, there is group where it's called backup operators, and the member of that group actually has and can restore, can backup files regardless of any permissions that you have on your files. However, it cannot really make any changes in your security settings of those files. So it's pretty secure, and it's kind of the right way to do things, to do a backup and restart things within your IT deployment. So try it out. It should be great in case if you have ever seen something like unable to access certain path by the backup plan, because due some permissions issues, since we have local system account by default when you get your product installed, and sometimes that local system account doesn't have permissions to access certain objects within your configuration. So backup operators might be a very good solution. So give it a try. Create a user. If you want to just quickly jump into my configuration and show you super quickly. So if you go here in my Windows machine, and if you go to users, so that's actually domain controller. And if you go to expand the Active Directory users and controllers and computers, so what we have here, so we have Eugene. So that's my account, that's my sample environment. And we can say that we want to add that user to backup operators. Check it out. So that's my group. It's actually a built-in group. And once added, the next step I want to do is change the service account to my UGNR and the password, and then I want to restart the service. And if I start the backup, so that backup most likely will be successful. Just in case if there used to be some issues with access certain paths in your configuration. So hopefully that makes sense and it's clear. Again, so there is Q&A box. Feel free to drop any comments or questions into that Q&A box. So the next one, I think that is cool, even if it's still not generally available. It's actually public preview. Well, it's not. It's actually GA. I'm talking about the Azure Archive storage tier. Similar to Amazon Glacier, Amazon S3 Glacier storage class, or Google CloudLine. Okay, so that these are all storage classes that we may apply to our objects. And the main target here, the main idea here is that we want to reduce your costs on storage, since Azure currently offers hot and cool type of storage, and Archive, again, it's in preview, and we are the first who introduced the support for that kind of storage tier. I don't really suggest you to use that in production, again, since this is in public preview. However, CloudBerry supports that configuration, so take a look at the options at the storage class that you can set for your object. It can be either cool blob storage or archive storage or archive blob storage, and this actually allows you to significantly reduce your storage price. And it's all done like similar way, like a life cycle transition, like we used to see in Amazon in S3 when we said that we want to migrate our data from S3 standard to infrequent access, or later on to the Glacier storage class. So check it out. If you use Microsoft Azure, and if you're interested in prices, what they offer from the archive storage tier perspective, take a look at your console and see what prices they have available. I actually have a default. I think, yeah, it's East US East 2. So these are the prices that we can see in that storage, in that data center, in that region, in Microsoft Azure. So finally, so this used to be a key, from my perspective, a key and major features, and I believe 5.7 is one of the biggest release comparing to previous one, at least since 5.4, 5.3. Yeah, I think this is the biggest release of the year. However, all these features that we just walked through is not the end. So there are a few other things that we added into the configuration. So Wasabi is a new storage that we introduced recently. Take a look at that. I think it's even cheaper than B2 Backblaze. Take a look at Wasabi offerings. Maybe it's something that you are looking for. It's S3. It's actually like object storage, and yeah, you can see the icon in our product. We introduced that recently, so try it out. See what performance you can get with Wasabi. Remote deploy for Linux and Mac. So it's more related to those of you who are MBS in MBS already, and so remote deploy is essentially the way to. Just want to quickly jump here. Is essentially the way to deploy your default configuration across your multiple computers. So that used to be available for Windows until now. So now it's available for Linux and Mac. So what you can do, you can create a sample template and then push that sample template across all your Linux instances in the environment that are linked to your MBS profile. Restore virtual machine backup of cloud instance. Well, all three. Again, it's all about VMware and Hyper-V. It's all about virtual machine edition if you use it. It's where you use agentless approach, where you get access to your either VMware or Hyper-V directly, and then you fetch your virtual machines from there, and then you push that backup to the cloud. So now it's possible to restore to one of the three compute platform, including Amazon, Azure, and GCP. It's kind of V2C migration, let's call it this way, like VMware, like virtual machine to cloud migration. We used to have P2V migration, like physical to virtual migration. So now it's kind of V2C. It's the next stage, right? So yeah, it's not available in 5.7. Ability to change the restore plan after the backup plane. Well, for those of you who are interested in that feature, like cascading your operations, so that's pretty cool feature. Yeah, so now it's available for restore plan as well. So any type of plan you can cascade in your configuration. Next one is really painful. It's actually Microsoft SQL ability to run transaction logs SQL backups during a full backup. Because before that, I would say this is a very huge hot fix. This used to be in place. This should be in place right at the first day when we released the SQL, but that was really hard. So we actually introduced, certain strategy how to do that. Now, during your full backups, you can actually work with transaction logs, and we understand this is really, really painful and important since you want to back up your transaction logs, since you want to, protect your business on more frequent basis. And so at the same time, with full backups, with a full backup operation plan up and running, you can do transaction logs, and it's not going to fail. Finally, in GCP, so Google introduced earlier London as a new region. So we started almost right away to support that region. So you can find London as a region in both configurations of our backup solutions, either in standalone or in MBS. So that's it really from the backup perspective. Just to remind, and maybe for those of you who are not familiar with the product at all, so we are agent-based solution license model. So essentially you pay per agent that you use for your backups, except a virtual machine edition where you pay per CPU under your hypervisor. And the prices you can check easily either in MBS console or on a website. And essentially they start at $29.99 for a standalone per year for desktop backup, and pretty the same price for the desktop managed backup within MBS. This is not all. As I mentioned earlier, one of the first products that we introduced to the world was CloudBerry Explorer. Essentially, it's a file manager. And it's a file manager where you can drag and drop your files between your local instance, between your local computer and your remote location. So there is, file encryption support. There is multi-part upload for all type of storages that are supported that configuration. And especially specifically for Explorer, I'm on with our backup solution. We introduced Microsoft Azure archival tier. So now you can actually see and you can set the storage tier to your objects within Microsoft Azure Blob to archival storage type. And again, so make sure that you don't use that for production, since that the Microsoft Azure archival storage tier right now is in public preview. So it is recommended to use only for development. So, well, you can try it out in your production, but it's on your own risk. So Drive, still here, and it's very easiest way to map your S3 bucket or whatever cloud storage to your local computer, and you can see it like a network share, like a removable drive, like a Z drive, for example, or W. And there is also Wasabi support, since we introduced that in all our products. And it's all, from the capabilities perspective, it's pretty the same like Explorer. However, plays a little bit different role. And it's not like a file manager. It's more like a convenient way to map the cloud remote storage to your location, and then you can start to manage your objects in the drag and drop way. Like you can drop your objects into the storage, you can drag them from there, and so on and so forth. So that's really it. I'm gonna quickly jump into a demonstration of a few things here. So please allow me another 10 minutes and we are done actually. I know there is Apple session in 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So allow me 15 minutes and then you will jump straight away to Apple. So by the way, Apple is going to introduce something amazing this year. So backups, right? So just to prove you the concept, what we have. So image-based backup, okay? So as you can see, I didn't lie you. So local and hybrid backup. So those two types of backups available. So again, we may have something interim before we kick off the data to the cloud. We can keep our image-based backup in one of our NAS device and then push it to cloud storage. So there is the first thing to The next one is, if we open up the file level plan, and if we go into the configuration of the, so this is grayed out right now because we want to enable VSS, so that's actually a requirement. And there you go, use fast NTFS scan. So remember, this actually makes your backups up to 10 times faster, but that is great for large backup sets. When you have over 1 million files, that is great to use. Try it out, give it a try, see if there is big difference in the incremental backup. If not, just disable and forget. Let's take a look at the image-based backup, and let's click Restore button. Let's select the storage where we have something from image-based perspective. Okay, so we just selected image-based backup, and 1, 2, 3, 4 options. We used to have those. Four options available in our product until today. So now that's the 4 option. So when we select VMware Virtual Machine, again, that's EBB to VMware Virtual Machine Restore. So we say what we want to restore. We then define what we want to go, where we want to go. So that can be a local host or whatever. So it's actually our vCenter or our hypervisor. Remember, free hypervisor is not supported. And once you put that information into those 3 fields, the next will be the configuration of virtual machine that you want to instantiate in your environment. So I'm not going to show a Google configuration, unfortunately, but it's super easy. You just use image-based backup or virtual machine backup, and then you just set up the visa in the visa. The Google Virtual Machine Restore using either temporary instance or direct restore, and you should be fine. So what I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to run through the QA box. I can see there are a few questions. So does 5.3 fully support Exchange 2013 and Exchange 2016, including mailbox item restore? Thank you for the question. Yes, it does support. It does full support for those 2 types. At least we've checked with QA. We ran a lot of stress tests, and they didn't find anything. However, item level restore is available only for 2010. Okay, 2010 is the only version of the product where we have item level restore available. But we actually get into the point where we're going to introduce 2013 and 2016 item level restore support. So if you're interested, get in touch with us over email that you can see on your screen, and we'll let you know when it's available. And we'll actually put you into the watcher list, and you will be notified automatically when the feature is available. We use CloudBerry with Ninja. Is 5.7 fully supported with Ninja? Yes, it does. If something goes wrong, get in touch with our support or SA team, solution architect team, and we will be able to assist. Can you convert existing backups to hybrid backups? Very good question. Thank you. So unfortunately not. There is no out-of-the-box way. However, we may try to figure out something. I know there are a few feature requests with regards to that one, and I think we will figure out something, and we're going to introduce that shortly. But again, get in touch with us, reference my name, and I'll try to figure out what I can do for you. This is with regards conversion of existing local backups to, let's call them local, even if you push them to the cloud, to the hybrid backup where we have 2 destinations at the same time. Any idea when the Mac agent will be a bit enhanced? Very right to the point. Thank you. We all dream about that. Unfortunately, Mac actually develops extensively, and we are trying to figure out what's going on with our Apple file system. Yeah, so I believe next year, QA, Q2, we're going to introduce something amazing. Yeah, I will share webinar recordings and slides. Thank you. Does NTFS scan work on image-based backup as well? No, this is only for NTFS for a file system. Not something that needs an urgent response, but just a request. Once locked in MBS, support requires a secondary login. Would be nice if that secondary login wasn't requested. Okay, get in touch with us, please, over sales. Reference my name. We'll figure out what's going on there. We'll probably have something to disable for you. Should backup restart by themselves when a brief internal interruption happens? Currently, the backup is failing and has to be started over from the beginning. So there's actually a few retries that you can set into the configuration. If you don't have those retries available, get in touch with us. We will point you to the right configuration thing. Got disconnected and missed some of the cost. Yeah, it's covered. So we're gonna share this. We're gonna share recordings with you. Have two ESX boxes with 2 CPUs and 16 cores. I believe there is a question about license model, so you don't have to pay for the cores. You just need to pay for CPU. So probably dual boxes. So you're gonna need 4 CPUs total to cover all your virtual machines, even if you have 100 virtual machines there. I'm reimbursed your customer. What is the discount through them? So related to all these sales questions, I would suggest you to connect with our sales team. And yeah, I think we covered most of the questions, and there are a few questions still left. What is EC2 Snapshot Manager? Well, I believe this is it's no additional license. It's just a way to manage snapshots around your EC2 instances. You can create and delete EC2 snapshots. The snapshots of EBS volumes within EC2. And that's my personal feeling. Maybe one day we'll consider something with those snapshots, maybe even kind of backup or something like that, but we'll see that. So if you have any ideas, let us know. Again, if you have any ideas with regards to EC2 snapshots, get in touch with us, sales@cloudberrylab.com, reference my name or reference SA team, solution architect team, and we will be able to dive into your details, figure out if we can offer that kind of support, or if we can if they can offer that kind of feature in the future. Yeah, so there are a few questions coming, but I want you guys leave the webinar since you need some time to get some fresh air and jump into Apple presentation. So thank you very much for being with me, and I wish you a great week, and see you next time. Bye-bye.